You ready?
Go for it.
And we're warm, by the way. Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. We had a very, very last minute Total OS today is joining us. And we're going to be talking about a lot of fun stuff, including the what we want to do with some podcasting stuff down the road. And this was kind of like, he sent me an email early this morning, but guess what? I was dealing with a great car catastrophe, and I just got to the computer like not long ago. So we just kind of threw this one together at last minute. We have 0 notes, but that's okay because we have a lot of people following. And at that point in time, we'll just kind of let the comments direct that. And if we get hit by any more 4chan bots today, yeah, bring them on. It'll be a lot of fun. Also,
well,
let us know.
I've just been busy filing my nails, so you just pardon me. I thought I would, sharpen up for the show.
Yeah, that's it. I got my tea in my Hershey's cup, so.
I should have grabbed a tea instead of Kroger's water.
I was thinking about doing more coffee, and I can't hear you very well. I'm going to crank you up on my end, but. Let us know how the audio balance is. I realized last time we didn't have the best audio balance, and we're working on figuring out the best audio balance system. So let us know how the audio is doing. So let's go ahead and introduce everybody here, if we can. Pseudo Linux, yo! Pseudo Linux is loving his i3 with Manjaro. That's pretty sweet. Isaiah Briggs, greetings, sir. Just got Android TV box. Modeling it now. Or modding it now. Okay, cool. Alexander Didor, greetings. First country problems, dealing with the snow. What is snow? I don't know what snow is, but I'll tell you, we had a high today of 10-ish. Greetings, Albert Crow. I did 3 years ago. Okay, along with cutting the cord. Hello, expect the nerd. Expect the nerd, I think. Hello, Carbon Programmer. God, how much I love Linux Mint Cinnamon. Oh, I love Linux Mint Cinnamon. Greetings, Mark. How are you? The early bird gets the worm. Okay, there's one time the early bird does not get the worm, and that is when the night owl has already eaten it. Just an
Makes
FYI.
sense.
That's why I work until 4 in the morning, and I don't really care if I get up. It's usually about 3 in the morning. Work until about 3 in the morning, and I don't care what time I get up, because I already ate the worms the early bird's looking for. Think I'll have some corn. Getting hungrier. Yeah, I was meant to throw some chicken in the oven here before we started, but that didn't happen, so oh well. And somebody already disliked. Oh, don't worry, it's just the bots. This channel's getting big enough to be attacked by bots. It's all good. We had a fun time with him yesterday.
I mean, I told Bill Gates, stop doing that. You're too busy doing other stuff. Stop disliking these videos.
I know. It's Bill Gates. It's probably Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Steve, and not Steve. Who is he? Tim Cook, because I poo-poo on all of their stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So So Sylvia's been great lately. Keyboard issue not happening anymore. Pseudo Linux, who disliked? Yeah, I don't know. I think you like Manjaro Cinnamon Edition, so it looked pretty cool. I do, but the thing is with like Linux Mint, I like Linux Mint. I think Linux Mint has a little bit more stability than Manjaro, as long as it's not giving you any problems. And since Mint is behind Cinnamon, I like sticking with that. What's your thoughts? You use Cinnamon?
I have Cinnamon on one of my ThinkPads. I like Cinnamon. My top 5 distros for beginners, Linux Mint is on there, as you well know.
Yep.
I like Cinnamon, Mate. I suppose Linux Mint XFCE is okay too for beginners. Probably the only one I will not pick for beginners is Linux Mint Debian Edition.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Cinnamon has gotten better, in my opinion. Yeah.
I'll have to try out the Debian Edition. I don't actually run that one. I probably should. Oh, you froze on me. Uh-oh.
But I've messed with Debian. Debian Stable's okay. But right now, look, I love my Ubuntu Mate. It just works out of the box. It's not fancy. It's not meant to be, but it's highly customizable. Something that GNOME 3 is not.
Good. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the thing about GNOME. It just hurts my heart. I mean, it just goes against everything that Linux is core for, like freedom and flexibility and customizability. But to each his own. Some people really like it. So Mitchell Morrison is in Phoenix and it's 74. Would you mind just bringing like 14, 15 of those degrees this way? I mean, you guys can settle with 60-ish, right?
At least.
Is that okay? I mean, yeah. I mean, tonight it's going to get down. It's about 0, and then, we'll see about freezing temperatures. Looks like the 8th. We're going to see some freezing temperatures, and I'm going to be out there dancing without a coat on. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Do you need the tinfoil hat? Seabear repair. You know, we're not doing tinfoil hat time today because if you weren't on the show yesterday, I mean, you know, I had a Great Car Saga, and we're going to be talking about the Great Car Saga from a consumer protection angle, of course, because that's the way I like to do things. And we'll even tie in a little bit of Linux in there. Why not? Good evenings, Kagan. Taking the wife out for birthday, so may not be here long. All right. Well, you never know. Hey, Chip, how's it going there? Here, we got to run the dog out real quick. Yeah, be real quick because, yeah, it's cold out there. All right. Hopefully no trolls this time. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Pam, no mind. Yeah, don't feed the trolls, people. Don't feed the trolls. Ooh, cheesy bread. That sounds good. Going to full screen mode, and i3 it flickers. Uh-oh. Alright, I think I'll stop there for the comments for a second. What's going on out there your way? How's the weather holding out?
7 degrees. It's still miserable. I think it's going to warm up Monday if I saw the weather warming up as in 20 degrees above, you know.
Yeah.
It'll be above 0. It's winter. The last 2 weeks, I mean, here we haven't had frozen roads or busted water pipes yet. The last 2 weeks it's been cold. So normally on a Sunday night or Saturday, I would be out with some friends having coffee or doing something else. But it's 7 degrees and it's cold. It is just too cold to go out to enjoy it. So we're here warming up to the community. Yeah,
that's it, and that's exactly why I have fire on our pictures on the background there because yeah, it's a little warm. I need a little bit of toastiness. So you are saying a little bit of background noise, audio's a little bit fuzzy. I mean, we're trying to get the best audio stuff figured out that we can. What I might need to do actually is end up just getting a much better soundboard system than I have. The soundboard that I have is really designed for one separate microphone. And so...
well, we'll figure something out for the next one. There's some other options too.
We will, and I think what we'll do is we'll do some off-stream testing as well. Figure it out, or some private stream testing maybe as well. So that way we can tinker with settings a little bit. And another thing that I did that I did kind of last minute is I created a new profile on my OBS for this, and so I don't have all of the audio settings quite as hammered out as I usually do. And so apologize for the sound. We're still kind of working this out. We're talking about doing a regular podcast, and so we want to get all of the audio and technical stuff figured out before we actually finally launch. So do you want to speak on that anymore? The things you want to see done or anything like that, or not yet?
Well, no, we can talk about it now if you want. We were thinking of, as we discussed, something on a weekly basis, like what I was doing, before with the news and nonsense. I was doing for the last, 5 years now. Something on a weekly basis. If we can do it live, great. If not, it'll be recorded. Technology news focusing on Linux, and then maybe at the end, like I used to do, we'll do like 10 minutes of tech or whatever, or maybe more, maybe like a few minutes of news and nonsense that may or may not be related to tech, like a news and nonsense. Because I don't do them anymore, because by myself, news and nonsense, it's not the same effect. I mean, I don't mind doing them, but it's just not the same. So unless I have a guest, I was doing it with YouTuber Stephanie Forian. She was a good sport. She's an independent singer-songwriter. But she's back in Germany doing her thing. I had a lot of fun doing it with her. She was a good sport, fun to talk to, but she's busy out of the country, which makes it a challenge.
Yeah, and I know I have some other folks here. Like I have some friends that are in startup music, just kind of starting their life out, and I invited them onto the show sometime when they're ready to go, and so that's something I'd like to do with people as well, and some of you folks from our community here, you guys can come on as well. So figure it all out. Linux, the lamer Linux is brave. He is testing out elementary OS on an Acer laptop. So sorry for you, sir. How's it going? I bash on an elementary a little bit, but I think it's well deserving.
I tried it elementary. It's another one of those that seems like it's difficult to customize. Now maybe it was not designed for that out of the box, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. It's just not for me.
Well, they are intentionally making it difficult to customize. In fact, the more you attempt to customize it, the more it seems to break. Here is the biggest challenge I have with it, though, is that there's a lot of things that don't function out of the box. Like, they want to build it up as a distro for, new users switching over to, to Linux. And the first thing you need to do is you have to upgrade the system through the terminal because the App Center crashes until you upgrade through the terminal the first time. That's not good. Customizing the shortcuts, maybe it's just part of their anti-customizability thing, but attempting to customize the shortcuts crashes the system.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exciting.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, but Lamer Linux, I'll be interested in your thoughts. Spotty Sylvia, greetings there. Where is my space alien? The space alien took a break.
He's here somewhere.
Because I have fun consumer stuff to talk about regarding the Great Car Catastrophe. Because of course, if you watch my show yesterday, I took a co-host downtown yesterday, and we were gonna start doing some computer shopping, and it's it feels like minus 16. I think the real temperature was like 6. It was minus 16 though, wind chill, and the car wouldn't start. So I'm stuck downtown without a car and a teenager. So fortunately, we had some good friends that actually live right downtown, and they weren't doing anything for a while, so they drove us around to do all the stuff we wanted to do. Dropped us back off at his house. It's pretty close to where I live, so he drove me home because he has a functioning car. This is exciting. The old dude's car's broken down, and the teenager's gotta hoop me around. It's awesome, and we had a great time. We had a great time today. And
comments real quick. We do have someone from Germany. Speaking of Germany,
greetings.
The Turco. Hello there, Turco.
I'm not that far in the comments. Greetings. I should do that. Technobismo joined us. Greetings. Let's see. Oh, hello. How is Germany's weather? There's a good question.
It gets cold there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Brace yourselves, 4chan is coming. Woohoo! Bring 'em on! If 4chan comes on, we're going to make half y'all moderators. And hope we don't accidentally make one of them. Had a reboot, system crashed, and when I exited full screen. Uh-oh, that's not good. What's my opinion on VPNs? It's better create your own. Alright, talk about VPNs, TOS.
I use the VPN sometimes built in Opera. Now, here's the thing. We've talked about, Windows versus Linux security, which is better, privacy. If we're talking security, I go with Linux. If we're talking privacy, it's a toss-up because once you get on the web, how do you know if you're private, even through a VPN? So I'll use the one built in Opera since it's there, but does it really work? How do you tell, right?
Yeah.
How do you know?
What I always do when I'm either using a VPN or using Tor is the first thing I do, like Tor, you check through the Tor services to check if you're actually functioning. But then I'll always do what is my IP address. And then because I know what my IP address is, that'll give me some idea, is it working or not. Now here's the problem, here's the challenge. VPN has jumped up as the next biggest trend, and so a whole lot of people are pushing a VPN service for privacy, and the reality is it's a gimmick, because first you need to understand what is the purpose of a VPN. The original design of a VPN was to connect to a local area network from outside the local area. So when you're asked the question about developing your own VPN, I have my own VPN that I use when I'm not in the office. It allows me to, if I happen to be on a public Wi-Fi, it will encrypt my connection and give me security. But B, it will allow me to access my network servers, my music servers, my file servers from here, and that's how I access my security cameras. I go through the VPN, so the security cameras are not on public IPs, because that's just bad. So creating your own VPN is a fabulous option if you are at coffee shops frequently and you want to have reasonable security. Create your own home VPN because it's cheaper, it's easier, it's fun to do. Connect into that when you're working in a coffee shop. But if you're wanting to mask your IP, you want to do an external service because you have the ability to pick your region and pick your location and all of these types of things. And so you have to ask that question, what is the purpose of your VPN? As far as hiding your data and things like that, No. I mean, if that's your intention, Tor is your best option. Even then, it's not perfect, but a VPN's not going to do that. All you're doing is kicking the can from your ISP to the VPN company, and you just need to make that decision: is that worth it or not?
Well, Tor I use sometimes. There's also a couple of web-based options. One is called Hide My ASS.
Mm-hmm.
You may have heard of.
Yep.
There's probably a couple more that I think work up to a degree. I suppose VPNs have their use.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't have one like my own.
Yep.
I'll use the one through Opera since it's there. But VPNs slow things down. I have noticed that. That's what,
Yep.
like especially Tor.
Mm-hmm.
Phew. I mean, if you're just gonna check a few items, news, and this and that, but man, once you start going to heavy websites, as it were,
Yep.
heavy RAM usage websites, heavy photographs, videos, it's almost non-functional.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
That's the cost of privacy, I suppose.
And I guess another thing I'll throw out is there is one VPN company I know of, and probably a boatload more. The challenge with the VPN is you're giving them unfettered access to everything that you're doing. And some of them have actually capitalized on that in the scope of big data and are literally scooping up the data and selling your data to third parties. And one of them was actually one of the newsletter companies. It might have been, don't quote me exactly, it might have been Constant Contact. But it was one of the big mail server companies started touting this free VPN service, and literally to read the terms and conditions, you are agreeing to let them snoop on everything you're doing and sell that information. So you also have to watch out with your VPN services. Are they collecting your personal data? Another fun use of them is some of the better filters will work through a VPN. And that's actually how a sort of de facto way I have my Office set up, because my router will filter everything I don't want on my network. And so if I'm accessing my network through my VPN, you know, I mean, everything blocked on my router is blocked on that device. And so that's another good advantage of doing that way.
Use what works.
Yeah.
I don't use one unless it's you know, something built in. Now I know there are also like extensions for Firefox and Chrome VPNs. I don't know if they work.
Yeah,
but,
and I'm not sure I necessarily trust those. And for the same reason, you have to be careful with some other, you know, just you want to be careful that whatever you're doing can't move outside the browser. And JavaScript can't. You know, it can. So it can execute on a file and move outside your browser and bypass that thing. And so I think adding extensions to your browser for that type of stuff gives you a false sense of security more than anything.
All right. I mean, as far as security goes, privacy, watch the websites that you go to. Keep your operating systems, you know, tuned up, updated. Of course, we all know about the latest, you know, Intel fiasco, but it isn't just Intel, I guess. So.
Yeah. So we're still getting, they're still saying, I mean, I just made a small adjustment to the audio. Let me know if that did anything on one better or not. What I did is I turned you down ever so slightly so you weren't right on the max line, which could potentially cause some issues.
Okay.
And there's actually some other buttons I could fiddle with, but I'm not sure I want to do that live.
Okay.
We'll work on the audio issues hopefully soon. Cinnamon's just as good on a desktop as it is on a cinnamon roll. Amen to that. Missed what you guys said to my first comment. Yep. Switch to, let's see, Google Programmer. Are there other programs you know of that are written by Chinese programmers besides rooting and jailbreaking software? Well, Opera's run by one now. I'm not sure they're companies, though. Other programs. Isn't Deepin, I believe, is Chinese-based, as far as Linux distros?
I think so. I never had good luck with that, by the way, so I don't use it.
Where's Kingsoft come from? I think Kingsoft might be Chinese, isn't it? Or is that not?
I don't know. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm going to slap Linux Linux Lite on that Acer, says the lame Linux. Alright. Cinnamon is good, but I'm more at home with XFCE desktop. Even now while I'm testing Mint on my media PC. Sudo apt-get install convert all -4 Fahrenheit to -20. I went to Chinatown today and saw some stores that claim to sell electronics. 21 Fahrenheit there. Lamer Linux, you are lucky. Eastern United States has switched to Ice Age. Yes, it has.
I'm looking at the comments. I guess with the audio issues, somebody said we sound like we're frying some food.
Hey, we're hungry, man. Crypto talk or die. Let's do it. Oh, boy. Let's see. Chip wants us to figure out the weekly live session. So maybe we got some votes for live. Should we go live or pre-recorded? Ask the campaign people in the comments. Yep.
We'll try to do live. If for some reason something comes up, I think we should keep it flexible. But if we can do it live once a week, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm all about schedules. So if we can hammer out a good time once a week live, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And we will work out the audio before we do that full on. But
yes, TSM, I'm cooking bacon.
Yeah, see, I can hear some staticiness, but that comes through my monitor, and we've already tested to make sure we don't. So, but yeah, we're gonna listen to the video afterwards and see how the audio is. I'm using Debian Unstable. I'm using Debian Stable on the computer behind me here. This one's running my space station build.
Okay.
So, we'll pause there. I'm like, I'm just kind of sifting through comments here. What Linux projects are you doing next?
I don't know. I gotta look and see what I want to do next.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'll do. Got me a new hard drive. I'm going to be rebuilding my backup computer because I had dropped because my computer has an icy dock, so I pop out the drives and do swapping of drives. I had dropped the drive just before hitting the top of my desk, which is about 2 feet, and somehow
tested, okay.
With a turned off drive, it completely fried everything on my backup computer. So,
no.
My backup computer's backed up. So I think I lost 2 or 3 old bad 70s songs that probably I still have elsewhere. And I might have lost a couple of the cleaner, organized data, but as far as actual real lost data, 0. Actually, no. I did lose my Kali Net Hunter build of my Nexus 5X that took me 1 afternoon to build. So I'm not exactly mourning that loss. So it's like, oh, God. No. So I do need to rebuild the backup, and it just ended up that I was able to find the 7200 RPM 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue for $50. And so that's what I'm going to be doing next. So I'm thinking I'm going to go back to Ubuntu Mate again for that. That's what I ran before. I like the Ubuntu Mate as a nice backup PC. So
it's simple. It just works out of the box. And what more can you ask for?
Linux Mint Cinnamon, it works better out of the box.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. I have that too. It's fine. Yeah.
All right. And I'm not a fanboy, actually. It just, I just like what works. Tom is blazing and not even mad. That's right. Yeah, I like... Okay, here's your thoughts. Did you watch the Brian Lynn Dukes video with Joe Collins?
Some of it, yes.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was good conversation. Joe seems like a stand-up good guy. They have their opinions of things like we all do, but overall, I thought it went well. I didn't see the whole thing, but I thought from what I heard, I thought it went well.
Yeah.
I think Brian said something like normally he has Matt Hartley on the show, but he was sick or couldn't make it. So Joe came on, and I thought from what I said was a decent conversation, yeah.
Yeah, I was intrigued to watch that one because I really like Joe Collins' work because Joe Collins is one of those guys. He's not like me. I switched over to Linux because I needed a functional system that wasn't going to spy on everything I do, like Windows 10. And in the process of learning all that, I've learned a ton and obviously grown a lot. But I'm not a guy who's born and raised in this stuff. Joe Collins is, and he's one of the born and raised guys who doesn't get involved in all those politics. And he's like, I use Linux Mint because it works. And that's a lot of Brian's buddies. They hate Linux Mint, and I've never heard them talk about why. And I loved it that Joe Collins was on there to say, I use Linux Mint, and it made Brian uncomfortable. I love that. It was awesome. Because I watch all of Brian's stuff. I disagree with him on several points, but I agree with him on a whole lot more. And I think Brian's show is awesome.
I think Joe Collins was distro hopping for a while last year.
He jumped around a little bit. But he always goes back to Linux Mint because it works.
Well, he there was one video I think he said, "That's it. I think I'm done hopping. I found my system, Manjaro." And I think I replied in the comments, "It won't last," and it didn't. In a week, he had to switch. I said, "I'm trying to tell him, been there, done that." So yeah.
Well, I distro hop this one, and usually I've been running Elementary on it, but I'm on Debian now, and I like the Debian over here. I like, the Elementary will get swapped off soon, and I'm thinking I'm going to do Solus Budgie next because I really want to give Solus a try with its native desktop environment. I don't want to have my final conclusion about Solus without testing it out on Budgie first.
Okay.
So
you might take a look at FreeSpire since it's back.
FreeSpire, cool.
FreeSpire used to be something that was out back in the late 2000s. It went away. They tried to mimic Windows, but they're back. Black Lab Linux now has taken over, just out of curiosity. So why not?
Yeah, there you go. Mark Yates asks, how is Total OS today?
A little warmer.
I have ice on the inside of my windows. My furnace cannot keep up. I mean, it's like I'm afraid if that thing breaks down, I'm gonna wake up as a popsicle.
Yeah.
Who needs satellite TV when we have switched to Linux? Hey, Ignore My Chan, the Netherlands represent. Greetings, Netherlands. How cold is it in the Netherlands right now? Mark Perez, greetings. I might try to learn someday, but I really want to get into Gentoo, though. I might have to try that. When I have enough funding to spend it, a couple days a week without having to do web design stuff, I'd like to get into Gentoo as well. I just don't have time.
I will not do with Gentoo.
Sneaky Linux gives us 2 minutes to sort out the audio issues. Well, sorry, Sneaky Linux. Try the future ones because I can't do a whole lot more with it right now. And
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Let me. I'm gonna run it over here and listen to it over here and listen to how bad it is on my end. Well, it's not bad. It's like if your volume's up pretty high, I think it'll cause problems, but it's not super bad. I mean, but it is absolutely bad enough that we will fix it in future versions. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just we're experimenting and also to understand we connected like 5 or 10 minutes before the show, so we get a chance to test it as full. But let me see if there's anything here I can do. Elsewise, I think one thing I could do is turn us both down a little bit, in which case you'll probably just have to turn your stuff up a little bit. But
well, again, with Google Hangouts, unless you can get that sorted on your end with that voice versus studio setting, it automatically adjusts my volume up and down, which is annoying. It's kind of like Skype. Where you can set it to automatically adjust or manually adjust. So, because I could see the volume adjustment on my mic moving as I talk, and that's the default setting for Google Hangouts, which is silly.
Yeah, and there's nothing I can do about it, just how it works. But so what we're going to try though is in a future one we're going to try doing one directly through the Hangouts directly on YouTube because there's more settings. Yes. But the other thing is, I can get a better soundboard system and figure out a better way to integrate the audio.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just the settings in the Hangouts. Yeah, I think that would fix it because I did them before through Hangout, but I pre-adjusted it and it seemed okay. So. Yeah,
it might be the audio coming through the Hangouts into my sound system is probably, that might be the issue, in which case it's just nothing we can really solve on this. Or the next option is I actually take the time to build that stun server and we can get the Nextcloud system working and try that. That's what I need to do, is I need to build a stun server. It's just, I had the time to do it over Christmas, but I wasn't in my home office and the internet, the ISP where I was blocking it.
Okay.
So net neutrality rules.
I see Chip Catalano likes switch to Linux. Zoom works, he says. Okay, yeah. Zoom, I
Yeah,
think, is a possible
we could
option.
try
Yeah.
some of the other ones as well. I'm not opposed to trying other ones, and actually that's what Zoom is what Big Daddy Linux uses, and that works pretty well. So yeah, we'll try and get this sorted out. I've heard of IP scrambling software. Does it really scramble your IP? It can. It depends. Good explanation about VPN. People should know this. Thanks. Yeah, and I know that's the VPN. The VPN industry right now is just so confuzzlicated because everyone's talking about privacy. Use a VPN. Therefore, because the name is virtual private network, so it must be privacy centric. And so, yeah.
But it's only virtually private, not really private.
Yeah, it is virtually. Yeah. I have heard some VPNs giving people's data to authorities. Yes.
Yeah.
How can I find out what systemd is loading open VPN service as boot when I don't use any VPN? I've disabled it. Curious what set it on. I have no idea. Can you speak on that?
On what now?
Find out why systemd is loading open VPN service at boot. Oh, you know, I know I've added things to systemd boot up. I have never taken things out, but if I remember seeing the instructions, just doing some internet searches might actually help that. I did some systemd additions on Debian server when I built my book server.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that I don't know. To be honest. Yeah. I think when Ubuntu switched to system, there was some controversy about that. Although I'm not sure why.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that about 2 years ago?
No, I don't. I mean, I think I was coming on the Linux right around that time.
I mean, as long as it works. But
I think,
yeah,
I think that the thing is that systemd in theory will slow boot up or something. I don't know all of the ins and outs, but to be honest, I mean, having to build a server and having to put things into systemd before, it works easy, and I'm okay with that. I don't want complicated when if I have to deal with just a few more milliseconds loading, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
If you have many more computers, blocking at router level is more efficient. Yes, Carbon, that is the thing. Is on a single computer or on my mobile computers I'm actually out and about, I keep the host file up to date. But in my office, I have so many computers and the operating systems change so frequently, I just block everything on the router level I want to block. Lots of static.
I had a
Ignore
thought.
my chances, lots of static.
I had a thought, Tom, real quick. When we're done here, here's a suggestion. When we're done here, let's end this when we're done, and I'll go live on my channel. I'll do it my way through Hangouts. That should work volume-wise. I mean, like audio-wise, and then I'll send you a link.
Okay.
But then we'll just do like a short news and nonsense, and you can just follow my lead. I have plenty of stories.
Great. Awesome.
How does that sound?
That sounds great. Yeah, and that way we'll get a chance to test if it's that system there.
Yeah, when we're done here, give us like 10 minutes or so, and
yeah, we'll jump over to your channel.
Go to my channel, and I should be able to sort it out, and maybe the audio will be better. I hope.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, give me like a 10-minute thing to throw some chicken in the oven so that when we wrap that up, I can actually eat because
I won't use external, and I'll just go through the YouTube stream. Using, I think it says easy through Hangouts versus custom or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll finish this up. We'll just take a short break, and then I'll be back. Okay.
Yep. Why don't we go ahead and you browse through there, see if there's any other comments we want to specifically do. Let me talk about what I wanted to talk about, and then
go ahead. Yeah.
And then we'll do that. So, actually, sudo Linux. I am wearing headphones. Yes. So what I want to talk about here is the Great Car Catastrophe. Now, of course, it's been sub-zero for a long time, and it has not gotten above double digits in my town for a long time. And I don't drive a lot because I don't have to drive a lot anymore. And so, 31st, I parked my car, and I actually didn't drive it until yesterday. Really? I thought I might have driven one more time since then. I can't remember. I don't remember, though. It might have actually been that long, though. And so I get up, I'm driving around town. Oh, the first, I did drive around on the first. So I go around town, and I went out with my friend, and the car would not start. So I'm in a parking garage downtown, and the car won't start, and that's just horrible because, yeah, it's like super cold, and there was a teenager, and it was just an exciting adventure. I mean, whatever, exciting adventure. Car won't start. So we get a ride around, do whatever else. And so I go back there 2 or 3 more times to try and get it going up. We can't get the thing started, so finally I get a tow truck in and get it towed out to a mechanic. Now, the thing is, I took it to a Firestone, which is, don't go to Firestones, don't go to Midas, don't go to Monroe, don't go to all these guys, because the big corporate chains, they're more about that. Now, your eyes lit up, you might have a different story. And that's, some of that I think would be a little bit more regional, but a lot of the big places, they're parts replacers, not mechanics. And that is really the biggest problem. They might look into something, they know enough about cars to go, this might be a problem. See if that works. Okay. See if that, no. So they're doing all these things. So understand that I do everything to my car I can do, and I have a back pocket of mechanics for the things I can't. And I learned how to do this because, you know, the biggest thing that's upsold is brakes. Who does, like, brakes, I'm scared to touch my brakes. People are scared to touch their brakes, and they capitalize on it. So you go to a mechanic, and a full brake job would cost about $1,000. Realize that that's $100 in parts, and it's actually about an hour or 2 of labor. That is brakes. And it's actually not hard. You take a tire off, you loosen a nut, you pull a thing up, you clip off a pad, clip on a pad, close it. Of course, you know, that's your rotor brakes or your disc brakes. Your drums are a little bit different, but not all that more complicated. So you do all this kind of stuff.
You want to catch it before your rotors start pulsating.
Yeah, yeah. Now I have had brakes so bad once, I wanted to put them on a record player and play them, and I thought that they would say, "You're going to die, you're going to die," because I mean they looked like a record. I had brakes that bad once. We like, not only did it roll off the pad, it dug into what was under it. I take care of the brakes a little sooner now, but
I've driven bad rotors, and you're like,
yeah.
Going downhill, hit the brake, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
oh, look, a free massager. Buick has a built-in massager.
That's it. That's exactly it. In fact, that was the car I had that on, was the Buick. So I do all that kind of stuff myself, but now I'm in a position where I have a car that won't start in sub-zero temperatures on a Friday afternoon. And so I decided, and I made the calculated decision to take it to a Firestone because they were open on Saturday and they have a garage, and it was in between where the car was and where I live. And that was the direction I wanted to move. So pay a tow truck, you know, $60, tow the car out to the place. And of course, on my bill here, they charge me for, and this was what I was paying for, was a computer diagnostics. Guess what the computer diagnostics said, TOS? What do you think?
So you have a bad car.
No. They didn't run a computer diagnostics.
Oh, they did? Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
No, they didn't.
All right.
They're like, well, there's no oil in the car. So they literally push the car in, and they pop the hood, and they check the oil. Yeah. You're not going to see oil on a dipstick in that situation. You got to run the car first. And they put, so they're like, there's no oil in the car. So they put in a bunch of oil, and how much did they put in? Oh, 3 quarts. Well, the car takes 4. And I'm not sure you're going to be able to see much on this picture. In fact, I'm pretty sure you won't. Especially since I have that angle there. I don't think you can see that. Literally, okay, you have a dipstick, okay? Yeah. And the full line is here. The oil marker was here. Which is a head gasket waiting to blow up.
So instead of Mr. Goodwrench, you went to Mr. Goodshaft.
Yes. So, and then of course, these types of guys, so their diagnosis is you need a fuel pump replaced. Of course, a fuel pump, if you're unaware, a fuel pump is a fairly cheap part, but a lot of labor. Actually, they're saying it's a lot because you pretty much have to tear apart the entire gas tank, and you essentially replace the gas tank at the same time. All sorts of things like that. It depends on the model of the car. My model of car, that's the case.
Possibly, yes.
So
Possibly.
So that's their recommendation. Based on they got it in there, they let it sit for 30 minutes, and then they hit the gas tank with a rubber mallet a couple times, and it started. Well, you know what else will cause that to happen? Sub-zero temperatures for a long, long time. That's the other thing that will cause that to happen. And so, diagnosis of a bad fuel pump, I'd want to see that on computer diagnostics, but since they did one, all they did is kick the gas tank a couple times. It finally started. They go, it must be a fuel pump. So you take it to these parts replacers, and their final recommendations is $1,400. Is at $61.76. They recommend the standard oil change for $40. They recommend the fuel pump for $639. They want a battery replacement for $139. They want a spark plug replacement. Okay. They want a fuel system cleaning and transmission fluid wipe for $209. Coolant exchange and brake fluid exchange. Right.
Yeah. Okay, let me give you a few quick tips, okay? When I was in Florida, I had a friend of mine who was a retired car guy. Mm-hmm. Wintertime, preferably all year, I recommend only synthetic oils. Mm-hmm. There is a difference. You won't feel it as much in the summer, but in the wintertime, you will notice the car takes less time to warm up, and it's been proven scientifically that synthetic oils do better. Preferably full synthetic, but synthetic blend. I don't use regular oil any. I just don't.
Yep.
You can get full synthetic oil change now up here is like $45 versus say 20-some bucks for regular. But you can go, I'm not saying you should, but you can go up to, they say with some oils, up to 20,000 miles between oil changes with full synthetic. That's been proven. Should you do it? Probably not. So with full synthetic, I would go maybe at the most 10,000 miles tops.
Yep.
I usually change it around the 6,000 mile mark.
Yep.
So in the end, there's less wear and tear on the car, and you're actually saving money in the long run. Batteries. I go to my local Walmart for a free battery test. They have a handheld scanner, and they test it there. I trust them. 2 months ago, my son's car would not start. I called Allstate because I had towing service. They called back, sorry, there's no one to help you. That's not what you want to tell a customer, Allstate, or anybody. So I will be canceling that part.
How much am I paying for that?
Well, I mean, she was very nice. It wasn't her fault. You know, she's just a, secretary or, she says, oh, there's nobody available tonight. And it was like 7:30 at night. It wasn't freezing. It was like, it was in the 30s. It was close to home. It was at the mall. Nobody available. That's not what I wanted to hear. I was really mad, but I let it go. Me and my friends, we pushed the car to a parking spot in the mall, left it there. The next day, the nice guy from Walmart followed me to the car, against policy, I guess, but he was very nice. He says, yeah, you have a dead cell. So I bought the best battery they have. It looks the same. It looks the same size, but I guess there is a difference. And it seems fine. But as far as batteries, you should have it tested once a year at the very least. But just go to Walmart.
Yeah.
It's free. And their batteries, do I trust them? I think I do. I bought one there 2 years ago. My car, it seems to work. Or was it 1 year? Anyway, it starts, so yeah. Realistically, depending on the car, you're probably looking close to $100 for a decent battery. Depending on the car. Obviously, if you drive a big 8-cylinder Ram truck, you need a heavy-duty battery. But batteries, yes. Have it checked. Oils, I recommend only synthetic. Period. Now, the rest of the stuff that they're diagnosing, I don't know. But cold weather puts a strain.
Exactly.
And there's that old, and there's this, should you warm up your car in the wintertime? Maybe we'll talk about that in my
Sure.
I'll give you guys some tips. The answer is...
Carburetor ones, definitely. But
yeah. But look, stuff can happen. The window on my driver's side cracked. It has like an L shape. It was out in the parking lot. It was bitter cold. I went back to the car and I could see. Now, I can't feel it. So it's in the middle of the glass or in the middle of the construction of the glass. I'm assuming it's safe to drive, but it puts a strain. Cold weather, even on modern cars, it puts a strain.
it does.
That's why I have the best battery that you can buy, the best oils, because in the end, You treat the car nice, and it'll treat you nice.
Yep.
Take care of the car, and it'll
Absolutely.
take care, especially when you most need it to, like now. So, in conclusion, what is the real problem with your car? Do you know?
Well, let me tell you my thought, myself, my knowledge, and the knowledge of a good friend of mine who's a pretty master mechanic. Yeah, a little bit of water in the fuel line because it causes the exact problem. Which all I needed to do is get it in there, get it on, no problem. So the thing is that the biggest challenge I have with these types of stores is they want to charge me $639 to replace the fuel pump that probably isn't bad. Now, it could be, but I will, and this ties into Switch to Linux, by the way, because I was thinking about what do I want to do with my next Amazon gift card. Buy the rest of the components I need to build a Raspberry Pi computer diagnostics computer, of course. So I ordered the parts. And when the weather gets warm and I don't have the potential for frozen water in the fuel line, and when the engine's running, hook it up to a diagnostic and see what the diagnostic says. Because the fact that it's running now just fine tells me the fuel pump's probably A-okay. Probably just had a little bit of water in there.
Yeah, you can get like a little bottle like of antifreeze.
Yeah, I put some. What I did is I put some heat in there and I added a few gallons of gas for the antifreeze for the gas line. That's what I did.
I would get the battery checked. That's regardless of what's going
absolutely.
on.
The battery. I'm doing the math. The battery's about 4 years old, I think, and I replaced that.
4 years old.
It was either 4 or 5 years old. So I am going to check the battery. Am I going to trust their check on the battery? No. Because here's the thing. They check the oil without starting it. If they check the battery without starting it, I've tried to start it 25 times in sub-zero weather in the last 2 days. It records low. So after it's driven for about a half an hour, the alternator's had a chance to charge, the battery's charging, then I will test the battery.
Yeah, it's tested. Well, you want to test it before winter, obviously.
Correct. Yeah.
But I'm actually due to have mine tested.
Yeah, test your battery. I would test your battery. Now, I have had zero indication of problems with the battery. Zero indication of problems with anything, except I know the thermostat needs replaced, but I'm not tearing apart half the engine and tinkering with all that stuff to replace the thermostat right now.
One last tip about batteries. We were trying to jump start. I have a Stanley jump starter thing. I recommend Stanley, like a little jump box.
Yep.
Anywhere between 50 to 100 bucks. It saved me a few times. I tried that on my son's car, didn't work. Had a friend of mine there at the mall. We tried to physically, with jumper cables, did not work. You would think, but if it has a bad cell,
it won't work.
will not be able to jump, period.
Yep.
I don't know all the technicalities of it, but I thought, once that didn't work, I'm thinking,
yeah,
because I had the starter replaced 2 months ago, brand new starter, lifetime warranty, and I could hear it clicking. But once the jumper case, it has a bad, sure enough, it was a one bad cell in the battery. That was it.
Yeah, actually, when I replaced the battery in this car last, that's exactly what the problem was, because I had 2 cars. And my one car, actually, I had a problem with the fuel gauge in that one where it would never report the amount of fuel. I thought enough fuel, and I didn't, so it kind of died off on the side. So got back into town, I'm like, oh, let's go get my other car and go get some fuel the car up, drop the car off, walk back to the car, because I was close enough to town. And so I go there, and the car won't start. So I get a friend of mine, get out there, get the car that does work as long as it has gas in it, get back, try to jump it off the other car that works. Nope, dead battery. So I had 2 cars broke down simultaneously. Oh boy. Well, let's let's go ahead and wrap this up on this channel, and then we'll go back over to your channel because hopefully we'll have the audio issues worked out if we do that. So.
Okay, I had to put somebody away on chat. Vincent, I noticed some of his comments wasn't user friendly. So.
I did see a few of those, and I was thinking about it. So. All right. I think, is there any other comments on here we want to address before we go? Political Monkey, I think you came on just in time to hear the commenty stuff.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, there was. I didn't see anything that required immediate attention. So.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump off here, and let's jump over to your channel. So we'll both be joining, I guess, you over on your channel. Give us, what, about 10 minutes maybe?
Yeah, about 10 minutes or so. I'll send you a link. So go over, guys. Go over if you want to. I promise the audio. I'll try to fix the audio on my end. Go to Total OS Today channel, and we'll continue with some more tech stuff and maybe finish up with some news and nonsense. Okay?
Yep, sounds good. And yeah, I'm just gonna go throw some chicken in there, and so we'll connect there. So I'm gonna go ahead and push the stop button.
Okay.
So join us over at Total OS Today's channel here in a few minutes.
Okay. Alrighty, sounds good.